Let's get one thing straight. I ain't kissing nobody's ass. If you mistook me for someone who kisses ass and doesn't just think for myself, then you wrong. I am an independent thinker. I very often do not follow the crowd. More often than not, my opinion is usually not a popular one. If you followed any of my commentary about the Richard Allen trial, you probably already know this. I'm happy if you don't watch me because you don't like my opinion. That's fine. But you know, this is my channel where I give my opinion. Weird how that works, I know. So let's start at the start. For those of you who think I am Lily, the kangaroo, and that it's somehow me stirring up all this bullshit against Turtle Boy, you wrong. I mean, it's pretty obvious. She's white and I'm not. She lives in Queensland. I live in New South Wales. I know you all think that all Australians are just one person because we all sound alike, but here's how stupid that sounds. You all must be Kate Peter because you all sound like her. Yeah, that's how dumb that argument sounds. Now, moving on to why I posted Karen Reid thanking everyone profusely yesterday. That wasn't because I'm against Turtle Boy either. I'm just letting people know the truth. She did thank everyone, which includes Turtle Boy. The point is, saying that Karen Reid is ungrateful or that her family is ungrateful just because there was no specific visit to Turtle Boy's channel at a specific moment in time is not proof of anything. I didn't specifically go looking for every time she said Turtle Boy or Aiden. I simply clipped what I could find of her saying thank you to everyone, which includes Aiden. The only way you could think it doesn't include Aiden is if you somehow exclude Aiden from having done anything to help Karen Reid. I don't exclude him. If you do, then that's on you. Whenever Karen did say thank you, I didn't get upset because my name wasn't specifically mentioned. I felt included. You know why? Because I feel pretty confident that I did a lot to help people understand what was going on in this case. I didn't need her accolades to say that this is what I did. I know what I fucking did. So when she thanked everyone, I felt included. What I did not do at any stage is exclude Aiden. So to everybody out there making out like there's only a black and white picture here, that I can only be on one side or the other, you're in for a rude shock because I'm not on either side. I simply don't watch any other Karen Reid creators outside of LawTube. So no one can accuse me of taking any sides between creators. I don't fucking care. They're entitled to their opinions. I don't care. And as far as Karen and Aiden's friendship goes, it's none of my business. I don't care what's going on between them. I support Karen and I support Aiden. They're both being railroaded by the same corrupt entity. That's where my focus has always been, and that's where my focus will stay because justice for John O'Keefe has not yet been obtained. I still believe Karen's innocent, and I still believe Turtle Boy's innocent. I don't believe he wiretapped her. I believe someone did, but I don't think it was him. Just based on what I've heard of those audio recordings, they didn't come from his own device that he was speaking on at the time. And until someone can put some other device in his hand, not just speculating, I don't believe it was him. Likewise, I don't believe Karen Reid went over to someone's channel and started backstabbing everybody. Until you can put the keyboard in her freaking hands and show me that she was actually there doing that, I don't believe it. And it all makes me wonder, have you guys forgotten what got us here? Do you remember? Jen McCabe said blah blah, Kerry said blah blah, but Proctor didn't record any blah blah. And until we saw the actual evidence, blah blah didn't happen, right? I mean, yeah, sure, you can believe that Turtle Boy wiretapped Karen Reid, or you can believe that Karen Reid went to someone's channel and said blah blah, but that's exactly how she got into this situation to begin with, remember? Everybody just believed the media that they had footage of her doing this thing to John. Everyone just believed that the witnesses were all being honest. Do you remember that? Because I'm the type of person who stands by my conviction, that's exactly how I roll. Until you prove something to me, I don't believe it. Just because you believe it, or just because someone else said it, doesn't mean I have to believe it. So if you want to nail Turtle Boy to a cross, fine, show me the evidence. Or if you want to nail Karen Read to a cross, fine, show me the evidence. And then I will consider who may or may not have done what. Until that time comes, all you got is he said, she said, and I'm tired of it. You won't convince me to take a position against Turtle Boy, and you won't convince me to take a position against Karen. So you can quit trying until you got some actual evidence. Okay, next topic. About 30 years ago, I started seeing a therapist, mainly because I spent most of my time as a parent wondering what I should or shouldn't do. Because that's what people kept saying, you should do this and you shouldn't do that. And the problem I kept facing was sometimes what this person said I should do is exactly what the next person said I shouldn't do. So, needless to say, as a young parent, I was often confused. But here's what my therapist told me. Where's the rule book? Because the fact is, there isn't one. It doesn't matter what you think should or shouldn't be the case, because there is no rule book. As my kids used to say, you're not the boss of everybody, so you don't get to choose what I should or shouldn't do, or what Karen should or shouldn't do, or even what Aiden should or shouldn't do. Once I learned that there was no rule book, that only I can choose what I should or shouldn't do, that was the day I was free. I mean truly free to be myself. So that was the first piece of advice I was given by therapists, probably one of the most valuable things I ever learned in my life, and now I'm offering it to you. You can take it or leave it, but don't deliver me shoulds or shouldn'ts, because I'm probably not going to listen. The second most invaluable piece of information that my therapist shared with me is about expectation. Whenever you say, I expected ... what you're really doing is setting yourself up for disappointment. It's kind of like how we tend to put people on a pedestal, and then the moment that we realise they're just human like the rest of us, we're disappointed. What I realised is, if you lower your expectations, sometimes you find yourself pleasantly surprised. And I can honestly say it works, because I've spent more of my life being pleasantly surprised than I have being disappointed. So again, you can take it or you can leave it, but if you're the one expecting things, then you're the one setting yourself up for disappointment. It's only you. It's not someone else doing it. It's you. It's a very hard lesson to learn, I know, but here we are. So I say all of this to make it absolutely clear. I don't think Karen should or shouldn't do anything, and I don't think Turtle Boy should or shouldn't do anything. And now you know why. Quite simply because there is no rule book. And secondly, I didn't put either of them on a pedestal. I never had any expectations of either of them, and consequently, I haven't found myself disappointed with either of them. In fact, I found myself pleasantly surprised by both of them. I don't know if this means I'm a glass half full kind of person or a glass half empty kind of person. All I know is it makes my life a whole lot fucking easier. There are no rule books, and there's a lot less disappointment. Now, the last thing I want to address is what the lawyers have all been saying. Not the backstabbing and bitch fighting between creators, but the actual lawyers, you know, the people who actually know the law. The ones who are defending Karen and Turtle Boy and trying to work out strategies for their defences. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, I know, boring. But here's the thing. They've both got to have a strategy, right? Whether you're talking about Karen's defence, trying to thwart Michael Morrissey's attempts to tie her to Turtle Boy and his witness intimidation charges, or if you're talking about his defence, who's trying to get him off those charges, both defence teams are alluding to the same thing. These two should not be showing anyone that they've got any connections or friendship. And the last thing that either of them need is to prove any sort of quid pro quo. That is, before Karen Read went through trial 1, she promised Turtle Boy, if you go and intimidate witnesses and do all this stuff for me, I'll give you the first interview. Of course, we know that's not how it went down. But do you think for a second that Michael Morrissey isn't going to try and twist it that way? Or that the McAlberts aren't going to try and twist it that way? Of course they freaking are. And if you are of any other opinion, then you clearly didn't watch the 2 trials that I just watched. They will use and twist even the littlest thing that none of us would even suspect to nail Karen Read and in the process nail Turtle Boy. I suggest we all get back up out of our fields and start listening to the lawyers again, because neither of them are free yet. It's okay for Karen Read and Total Boy to have their issues between themselves. That's okay. It's okay to express their feelings about that. I have no dramas with any of that. What I do worry about, though, is that we're going to force her into doing something that is not good for either of them. At this point, I'm putting my trust in the defense teams because they know what's good for both of them. There is absolutely nothing whatsoever that Alan Jackson has ever done to make me believe he wouldn't do the best thing for Karen Read. And there's absolutely nothing that Tim Bradel or Mark Betterow have done to make me believe that they're not doing the best thing for Aiden. Karen and Aiden, however, could be doing a lot of things that aren't good for either of them. And establishing that they somehow had some sort of friendship and some sort of quid pro quo is definitely one of those things. So yeah, it's a good time to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, people. Because I know, for one, I have both of their best interests at heart, and I know their lawyers do too.